If it ever looks easy for me to just show up and talk, let me tell you, like I'm literally forcing myself right now in the situation to show up. What I mean with that is, the house that I am in right now is my latest investment in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and it's going to be rented starting tomorrow. So I really want to tell a story about this particular investment. And now I'm really forcing myself to tell the story because after tomorrow, it's not going to be, uh, it's not going to happen for the coming months because simply someone else is going to live here. So yeah, I literally just hit the record button. I still need to eat. So I'm like, I have to do this now because if I don't eat, I will get cranky, hangry, cranky, you know how it goes. So yeah, I'm really helping myself right now, like to the ass, like just show up, just do it. Little behind the scene information.
Welcome to the Ash Show and the House of Ash podcast. I'm your host, Ashwina Gampat. This is a safe haven that inspires you to live the free and abundant life that you desire.
So welcome in my latest condo. It's a beautiful space in the heart of Playa del Carmen. And boy, what a journey it has been to finally be here right now and to have a final product and to be able to talk to you guys and tell the story about this particular investment. I sold my home in the Netherlands back in 2022, just before I moved to Mexico. I think it's really funny that this new episode is also about the house because one of the first episodes that I did for my podcast is about that house that I just sold in 2022. And from the equity of that house, I bought this condo here in Playa del Carmen. I said yes because of the location. Like I lived here for a few months and I just love this neighborhood and the energy. And I'm like, yeah, if I buy here, I'm always solid and good. And so in December 2022, I signed a contract. I paid big sum upfront, and the house was supposed to be ready in 7 months. July 2023 turned out to become December 2024. So it was like delayed for over 1.5 years. Yeah, that should not even be a big problem because I thought everything was kind of, you know, safe and sound in the contract. However, the developer did not cooperate. So what was supposed to be a smart and smooth investment turned out to be nothing like that. And not only did they fail to make the time obligation, they just failed to make any obligation that was written in the contract. They were supposed to pay me a compensation fee for the delay, crickets, like non-communication. And luckily, I had involved my lawyer, but eventually, he gave me two options. He's like, okay, you either fight them, have a legal battle against them, or, we just accept what is, and then you just pay the percentage that you still have to pay when the delivery is up and you take your loss. So I obviously investigated, okay, what if I would fight? Because I have every reason to fight. And then it was very clear that here in Mexico, it could take up to 3 years. Even if you would win, the question is, would you be happy with the money that you would make out of it? And energy wise, like, do you want to go through a whole battle, which is going to be very costly? You don't know if the return is even worth it, etc., etc. So I made the decision, like, okay, we're not going to do that, accept what is, and I learn my lessons, and I am, this is part of investing. It doesn't always go the way as planned. And so yeah, so I did that. But with that also came a very clear understanding of, okay, obviously this is not fair. Like, I'm huge on justice, and I really felt like even though I made the decision not to battle against them, it still did not sit well. So instead of fighting, even with that energy of it's not fair, I decided to take ownership. It's not just, about the apartment. It's also about the, like, my experience. I wanted to make the best of the situation. I want to pour a love into this space. One of my huge inspirations is creating beautiful homes. Like, this is what I did in Holland with my own homes, and what I get to do here in Tulum as well. I designed a lot of beautiful spaces and welcome people to their home or to their new homes. And I'm like, let me just pour love and soul into this place. So instead of fighting, I decided to make peace with it, to really take ownership and not just for the investment that I did back then, but especially like, hey, this is where we stand now. This is the reality right now, and let's make the most of it. Let's enjoy the process from now on. Let's enjoy the apartment. And so I poured so much love into this. I stayed here a few weekends in a row. I really felt like, okay, what do you need? I painted the walls. I bought beautiful furniture. I just made this a special place. And by being here also in the weekends and in the area, I started to really enjoy also the investment that I made in general, like the lifestyle that I created, the neighborhood, the whole reason why I even bought here. I started connecting with new people, with old friends and acquaintances, finding new spots that I love. It really started to alter like the entire experience. The moment I decided like, hey, let's make the best of it and let's just pour love and soul into it, it kind of had a ripple effect on so many more areas than just this apartment. It was the entire experience for me that changed. Started to reconnect with what it was truly about and why I even bought here in the first place. I haven't lived here for 1.5 years. I started to just venture out more and started to understand like, hey, do I even want to rent out the space? Maybe I want to keep it for myself. But then it was clear like, no, it's still perfect for the rental market. What I truly desire is just to get a car and just to have the freedom to venture out more and finally taking the bold moves to get that car as we speak and to just explore more of Mexico and soak in more of the adventures and the beautiful things that Mexico has to offer. So instead of fighting and going for justice, I just accepted what is. I took ownership. And by taking ownership, I actually felt empowered again. I felt like, like whatever they did, that was out of control. And honestly, I learned from my investment. So maybe now I would have chosen not to work with them. I would have seen more things that I wasn't able to see back then. And that is the good thing about, once you move forward in life, you learn stuff. And that just makes you more wise and more alert for the future. But apart from that, from here on out, I'm like, okay, now I decide how to deal with this. I didn't want to stay stuck into the injustice. I just wanted to create beauty out of that shit. And it wasn't just about making peace with it. It was more about, I really want to make the best of it. I said to the house, like, hey, it's you and me. Like, I chose you. We're in this together right now. I want to pour my heart and soul into you. And so I literally, like the walls and everything, I spent an entire day painting it. I created this room divider by myself. Every furniture is picked by me. And I remember even being here one weekend and sitting here and being like, I missed something. Tell me, what do you want? Like this space was talking to me too. And then I noticed that I would get inspiration through things that I would see, like Pinterest sending me an email or just things that I would see on Instagram, for example. And I'm like, it needs a mirror. It needs this, it needs that. And it started to really become more personal and it started to have its own personality. And apart from the apartment, what happened with me too was as I started to stay here for 3 nights or sometimes 2, sometimes 5 nights, like whatever my calendar allowed. But what happened was I started to fall in love with Playa again and I started to fall in love with life on a deeper new level. It showed me the power of, like when you focus on investments, you're focusing on creating wealth and a momentum where at a certain moment there's more money coming in, like a cash flow coming in, which allows me that I don't have to work if I don't want to. Like the houses that I have, they bring a certain income. But when you're so focused on that, you kind of sometimes forget to really enjoy what you've built. And because of the situation and by truly embracing the house, I get teary right now because I feel it. The situation was more about just making peace with it. It was more about making the best of it. That's how it started. But the gift that it gave me was just beyond that. The gift it gave me was I reconnected to myself. Like I gave it a soul, but it helped me to reconnect with my own spirit. It reminded me of who I am, of what is important for me. And what is important for me is not to fight and be right. For me, it's not about that. For me, it's about beauty, about love, joy, all of it. And it's a form of resilience that comes out of it then, like, but it actually is a lot easier to just have peace with the situation and make the best of it than it is to fight it. So as I poured love into the space, I poured love into myself because my soul was able to express itself here. And I took that with me when I would go outside, and life would greet me that way too. It's true alchemy to see how from something so ugly and mean and not like, it was just so unfair. If I would have been stuck into that injustice, I would have done myself wrong. Like I had every right to be upset, to start a whole legal battle with them, everything. But at the end of the day, I made the decision not to go there and to stop whatever was created already and just to take ownership and be like, okay, that part I could have prevented by not buying, but I bought. So I take that responsibility. And now what can I do? And I'm so proud of myself for doing that and for the blessings that came after, because it was really the beginning of a lot of blessings pouring in. Yeah, so I started staying here and fully embracing this beautiful space and Playa again. That's when a shift happened. And it just happened without me waiting for it. Like I thought I already made that decision, right? Like, oh, we're just gonna pour love into it. But the blessing came afterwards. I realized that freedom is not the money that I hold in my bank account or making smart investments. It's also about allowing myself to enjoy what I've built. It's allowing myself to spend the money. Like this house is fully paid off. So a lot of my savings were in it. So that kind of feels tight, right? It's like, yeah, it's nice to have money, but when you invest that money, then it's gone. So that's like, then you feel like starting over again. And I kind of felt that like I was robbing myself from freedom to do whatever I wanted, because in the back of my mind, I was like, well, there's still an investment that I have to pay off. So I can't do everything that I want. That's kind of how I lived the past year until now. Because I'm like, that's not real freedom, is it? Someone I know who didn't have much money, who's like, gosh, and that's also what helped me open up to this idea where I really start to understand like, I never really allowed myself to really feel the freedom of what I have created. And he's like, I don't have half of what you have created for yourself. Like I have now multiple homes, have a cash flow coming in every month. And the houses, they have value too, right? Over the years, they gain value. But he felt so much more free to spend his money and to do the things than I did. And that was such a huge epiphany. Like, oh my God, what am I doing this for? If freedom is such an important thing for me, then I'm still not really free if I let the money on my bank determine if I'm free enough. You know what I mean? So with this whole situation, I created this beautiful opportunity to really enjoy and experience the wealth that I have created for myself. And I fell in love, not just with the place and with Playa, with life. Like I would walk on the streets here, and that's the beauty of Mexico. Oh my God, like there's always music outside, and I would hear music, and it was as if life was singing at me. Like it wasn't just our restaurant playing music, it was singing for me. And I just deepened that connection with life, and therefore deepened the connection with myself. Not only that, I felt lighter, freer, more adventurous. There was a point, and I remember that so clear, it's not so long ago, like 2 weekends ago, where I was sitting in this beautiful new cafe. And I felt like this pain of, I'm not ready to let the house go. Like, I really love it so much. Maybe I just want to keep it, like for myself. So I have 2 homes and that I can come to Playa whenever I want. And then I was really open-minded about it. Instead of saying, nah, that's crazy, I was like, no, really, let's just explore it. And then by doing some introspection and asking myself questions, it became clear like what I truly love and what this experience in Playa gave me by embracing the situation and making best of it. It reconnected me to my adventurous spirit, the boundless spirit that just wants to explore and do new stuff and go to more beautiful, inspiring places and spaces and meet new people. And I stopped doing that when I bought the house, just living here for 3 months or something, knowing it was a very fast investment that I did. One thing I knew for sure, like, hey, I may not know exactly what I'm doing right now, but I know this. It's going to be a blessing in disguise because I will always win. And with that conviction, I bought it. With that conviction of, I will always win. I will always get better. I will either gain huge experience, which will eventually help me out for the long run, or it's just an incredible investment, or both. But I am gonna win, and that gave me the balls to just sign it and go for it. And officially, I just got the house, so it's not an end game yet. Like I can't fully say what will happen, but I already won. Like I already gained so much experience, and I reconnected on a deeper level with myself again and healed a part of the friction or the distrust that I had with money, which is basically I healed a distrust that I had in myself. And that's priceless. And that's paying off in every facet of life. And yeah, as I reconnected with a part of me that loves exploring, discovering, experiencing life fully, I would have never thought that that would happen from the injustice that happened. And I probably noticed that I didn't even touch a lot on all the injustice because I don't care anymore. Like it's not about that anymore. It's just not. It's about the blessings that I got out of it. It started from shit. And that's the thing. As a true alchemist, I truly believe. Like, if you start to see that all the things that could go wrong or are going wrong, if you start to see that as blessing in disguise, and you're like, okay, what good can come out of it? Show me. If you change that, if you stop looking at the gap and just take responsibility and make the best of it, it transforms your life and it reconnects you to who you really truly are. I didn't lose in this situation. I won something even greater that I did not even realize. Back then I thought I won by choosing peace. It's a deeper sense of self-trust and resilience and the power to choose peace over struggle, and knowing that from that new perspective, true freedom arises. Thank you for listening to my podcast. And if you want to watch this on YouTube, it's right there as well under the House of Ash. Thank you.